welcome back. I'm Tanya from Tanya's Witchy Kitchen, and how are you today? Just to give you a heads up, if you hear a lot of dogs and screaming and nobody's getting tortured, the grandkids are out. Yeah, it gets a little hectic, you know? They're so busy compared to, you know, when it's just me and my boys home. But, well, the dogs are always. But anyway, this is going to be a very short intro because it's a longer video. So I tried videoing as I was making this soap, and it's harder to do because I've always got somebody at home with me, so it's not like I can just sit there and chit chat throughout the video. So I tried, and of course my husband came home early and ruined the end. But we'll see what we get into with this video. So 3 things: dream big, be true to you, you are worth it, and let's go check out the Rose Quartz soap. Okay, I thought since I have the house to myself and I've had some questions about certain words from family members, I thought I would give you like a don't follow me, a basic rundown of soap making, and you know, if I say a word, I'll try and add the description, you know, of what it means. Seriously, the first thing, prep everything. Everything. Prep everything. Prep your surface. Prep everything. So you want to get your oils prepped. And, you know, since I master batch mine, like I do 3 batches at once, which, you know, mine are small. But, so then I get them all together. So the thing is you want to make sure they're melted together at some point and mixed up. Okay? Melted, mixed. And these have been sitting out, you know, so they're 85 degrees. Okay? So what we're going to do is we are doing the Rose Quartz soap. And so we're going to do the lye water next. I don't know where my thing went. I'm going to use you. Because that's got lye on it from before. And so we measure out our waters or your liquids or whatever you're doing, and however you do it. You know, some people do the 50-50 lye solution thing, and I think that's really cool, but for me, it doesn't work right now, okay? So in my lye water, I actually add citric acid. It's a chelate or chelate. I think it depends what part of the world you're from. And that is supposed to help with soap scum. It's not the soap scum of the soap. It's the soap scum of the water reacting to particles. The soap reacting to particles in the water, mostly calcium and magnesium, I think. Like I said, don't quote me. This is just salt. Actually, I had a teaspoon of salt in my lye water. I'm too cheap to buy sodium lactate. Okay. So I'm not going to give you the ratios on how to adjust your lye because of the citric acid. You could buy citric citrate and then you don't have to adjust it, because that's basically what it's making when the potassium hydroxide mixes with the citric acid. It makes citric citrate. Is that right? I think that's the word. Okay, so you want to make sure it's dissolved, totally dissolved. And mine's going to look a little cloudy because I had stuff in here before, and sometimes if you get soap on there, you know, if you have a little bit of soap, no, it's clearing out. So you want to make sure it's clear and dissolved. And then you add your sodium hydroxide, which is the lye. Okay, this is the lye part of the formula. And this is what helps turn the oils and fats and butters into soap. That's the saponification. The saponification is just the process that it goes through to make the soap. That's, you know, putting it very simply in like terms my grandson could understand. I think he understands it anyway. So I do adjust my lye for the citric acid in here, but like I said, I'm not going to go into that because I think I Dream of Soap does a really good one when she does her dish soap. She goes into a really great explanation that I could never cover unless I copied her. So you just need to go in and like find that video and talk to, you know, listen to her explanation because it's just great. And so this is heating up super fast. And when you put citric acid in there, you don't want to put your sodium hydroxide and just leave it because you will get a hard disc of sodium hydroxide. See, it's like 193 degrees. Which is why it's so important to wear safety. Proper, what is that? Is it called? Proper personal protective something. Equipment. PPE. That's what it is. They call that in the oil field. Okay, so this has to sit. And what I actually do to cool it off while I'm prepping is I stick it in this container of cold water. Once it's, you know, pretty dissolved. So that it cools down to approximately close to that, or even 100 degrees. We could actually soap hot today because of the soap we're making, which means I could soap at 120 degrees. It would not matter, but, you know. So we have embeds. I have these little roses I made. I don't know if you saw them. You might have seen them on the embed video. I can't remember which ones I made. And I'm using Silver Mist, and that is actually going to be an oil drizzle in here. And so 5 to 10%, I wouldn't go over 10% of the oil if you do this. I like about 5. So my basic batch is 20 ounces of oils. So 5% of that is easy. It's just an ounce. So we're going to put 1 ounce of oils in here. You see my scale? Yeah, we're not going to talk about my scale. And then we're going to put, I don't want the neon orange in there. Okay, so, and then you put your mica. And I'm using Silver Mist, like I said, about 1/4 of a teaspoon, I think I'm going to go with. If I decide differently. Because I really want it coated. I want it just freaking coated. With this. So this is going to be like an oil drizzle in the soap. I know sometimes I do this and it's just whoosh, the whole soap is that color. But anyway, so here's my fragrance oil. I use that at about 5% per pound of oils. Some scents, if they don't come through very strong, go back. You know, if we're manufacturing people say, if it says 6%, you can use that at 6%. And then we're using rose clay for our colorant. And then, since I have my poured off, I am going to add my, I don't know why this is wet. Do you know why it was wet? I'm going to add my kaolin clay, which is about 2 teaspoons. And then my sugar for this recipe is buttermilk. Okay? You're like, what? Yeah, buttermilk. It's a nice additive. Okay, so am I prepped? I have this. Oh, and I might put rosebuds on. It just depends. I might scalp with a fork. It just depends. I'm a fly by the seat of your pants type of soaper. I know it sucks when I have to follow a recipe. But that's okay. It works. So I'm going to check my lye water. This is called, you could put your milk, like if you have milk or actual buttermilk, which I do, but I don't have it, might do that in another recipe. I don't have it unthawed. So this is called the milk and oil method. And it's amazing what you can put in your oils instead of your lye water. And you can get two different things. Like if you put honey in the lye water, which would be bad, I think, well, actually, if you put honey in your soap after, like at trace, sometimes the lye will still scorch it, I have found. Maybe it's just me. But you can put honey in the oils. You can put your sugars in the oils. You can put, you know, usually I put my sugars in the lye water if I'm using like sugar type of thing. But, yeah, you can get away with a lot in here. Like I could actually put my fragrance oil in here. I could put my clay in here. We could actually do that. We are only using, oh, and then I put two of those, yeah. We're only using this as the colorant, so we'll just put it in there right away. I don't like adding my fragrance oil right away. I just have a thing with that. So what are we at? We're at 118. I don't know if I want to so hot though, just because of this little guy here. I need him to go, he should be okay. I'll put him back in the water for just a little bit. The other thing you need to prep before you start is your mold. Okay? Whether it's this type of mold or if it's a flimsy, yeah, look, we got new molds. Or if it's a flimsy silicone mold and you need like a tray to put underneath it for support, you know, do that. If you're doing anything else, like if you're doing like an embed, you know, the tall embeds, so I, you know, pour that off early, you know, like days before I'm doing that soap, you know, like the heart mold or the column mold, or, okay, but prep all your molds. Everything needs to be ready, and you want everything at hand so that you're not running around, not naming names. I've done that. So you're not running around looking for stuff, right? Just prepping it right here. I am actually looking at one of my goats outside. She's got the twins, and all I can think is like, they could milk her for me. Like, her udder is so big. She's got twins, and they're pretty big. But it's like, ugh. I want to talk about the goat milk. Okay. So, taking this out, we will start here. It's at 1.9. This is much cooler, 85. Okay. Everything's ready. Everything's prepped. Everything's, you know, you got a rag, you know. So then we're ready to go. The first thing is I'm going to blend this all up just to make sure I have no chunks in the buttermilk or the glaze. I'm scaring my goat. Okay. There we go. And then we're going to add our, this is now called lye water because it's dissolved. It's dissolved lye with your water and whatever additives you add in there. So yeah, phase 1, phase 2. Phase A, phase B. the side. Now what we're doing is we're going to bring this to emulsion. Emulsion is just where it is emulsified. It is the oil, the soap has got contact and has connected with the lye. The oils obviously will not connect to the water molecules. And how can you tell? Well, first of all, I still have oil sitting on top, so I know it's not totally emulsified. Okay, like lotion is you use an emulsifier to connect the oils and the water together. Okay, so an easy way to do this is look at the stick blender. Like if you saw the, oh, what was it called? The leaf one. I Smell Fall. Maybe that's what it was. I Smell Fall. Yeah, I Smell Fall. That one was actually separating, and I don't know if the fragrance oil was supposed to do that. Okay, but if you watch this for a little bit, like 10-15 seconds, you'll see it actually separate if it's not emulsified. Now, if I had 6 colors going, I'd stop right here because it's pretty emulsified and I'd still have to mix all my stuff together. I have 1 color, but I still have to add my fragrance oil in. So I'm gonna stop here so I can add my fragrance oil. Because the more you mix it, the thicker it gets. And their soaping term is trace. Basically, it's a thick emulsion. Okay? So the thicker the trace just means the thicker the soap batter is. Some people are like, they wait until it gets to where you can make squiggles, kind of like you can with pancake batter or something. Well, that's a little thick, depending on your pancakes, I guess. But when you want to do swirls and all the fun stuff, you want a thinner trace or a thinner emulsion. Okay, now, like I said, 5% of the fragrance oil. This is from Be Scented. And since my husband decided to come home, and he talks a lot, so yeah, I can't talk over him. So I will just try and do my best to continue going. So mixing in the fragrance oil, you don't always want to hit it with the immersion blender. You know, a lot of times you see me just take the head of the immersion blender and just mix it in there, and that's actually what I'm doing. I'm not even turning it on. Just trying to mix it in there and get it incorporated really to the best of my ability without thickening the soap. Now, like I said, it doesn't really matter at this point how thick my soap is because it's just a 1 color with a swirl in it that I did tell you did not turn out. If I see oil on top from the fragrance oil or anything else, I will keep mixing it, which is why I am continuing to mix this, because I still see the fragrance oil on top and I don't want it sitting on top, right? I want it incorporated as best as possible into the soap. Okay? See? I have a pretty good emulsion there. Nothing is separating, and I'm still mixing the fragrance oil. And if you notice, it gets a little bit thicker and heavier now every time I do this on the stick blender. See? It gets a little bit thicker every time because the soap is starting to saponify more and more and thicken up more and more, and you know, it's doing its thing. We'll say it that way. Now, I don't usually show you how I clean off my immersion blender or my stick blender, whatever you want to call it. But I will now, just for this time, because since we're going through my process, yeah, I clean it off pretty well. In between batches, if it's the same oils, and you know, as long as it's not an unscented soap, and it's just I will not wash it in between batches. I will just wipe it down. Okay, this didn't work. And I'm seriously thinking I need to go back and go over my notes on how to do this and how to put that swirl in there, because the last few times I've done it, it doesn't really work, and I'm not exactly sure why it's not working. That is basically just extra oil from the soap batter, and the soap will soak it up, and leave the mica, is what it should do. But again, it's, maybe I should have had a little bit thicker batter, maybe more of a, oh, my dogs, more of a drop swirl, thicker. And I was trying to get this to thicken up more than it did, but yeah, then I got it on top, and I'm just like, bleh. The only good thing was it didn't sit on the edges of the bar, I've had it a few times where it just wants to sit on the edge, and it didn't, which was a good thing. But maybe it was also the color with the clay, and it, I don't know. But you'll see it in the bars barely. It's just, there for a few. It's really weird how that worked. I will say, you will know a soap maker in the kitchen because she scrapes down everything. He or she will scrape the bowls as clean as possible. It's funny how that transferred into the kitchen. I was always a good scraper of food off the, out of the bowls or out of the pots. But let me tell you, nowadays, it's like everything should be clean. I want to trail this, but it's not working. It's just too runny yet. And once it has set up long enough, then, and still, I'm still not getting those definite lines. It's so funny. I really don't know what slowed down what they want to say, slowed down Trace, but it could have been the fragrance oil. Okay, so Rose Quartz fragrance oil, you really need to watch when you buy a fragrance oil from a company and it's got the same name, right? You should really double check the fragrance notes of that name. And I don't know about Rose Quartz, but I've run into a few where it's the same name, but the fragrance is very different. It's very different. And Rose Quartz, I was expecting it to be more floral. This is not. This is more fruity. It's it really is. There's more of the fruit sweet side than the floral side. Okay, but these are my little embeds, cold process embeds that I had made a while ago. And I figured it would be a great addition to this soap. It's just kind of a soap that's there. And yeah, just a cute addition. Sometimes you need to just do a little. I like to just do a little thing. I like cute soaps. That's just how it is. And I know there's lots of people who, oops, that wasn't intentional. There's a lot of soap makers that they just do the basic soap, and there's nothing cute about it. It's just, maybe a little clay, a little color, a fragrance oil or an essential oil blend, and boom, there it is. Nothing, and I guess, I don't know, would my soap sell better? I don't know. I think sometimes it's all about the market and where you live, too. I think that plays a huge part on some things. But this is just my holographic eco glitter that I like to use. Just to add a little bling to the soap, like I said. Probably should have, waited a little longer with those lines, but, so they were a little more definite, but just trying to clean up my mold so it doesn't stick so bad. Sometimes, yeah, you've seen where it just comes, it's all over. Yeah, that's just me. But here we are to cutting the soap. And, like I said, that was a total fail on the blue, on the silver mist. I think it's silver mist, right? Yes, I'm sorry. It was silver mist. I think I told you that, but it was a total fail with the silver mist coming through in a cute formation. Yeah, there was nothing. I mean, there was probably a few bars where you could actually see it and nothing else. Like, it was the craziest thing. I've done this before, but you always see, the glitter, the mica through it. But this one, yeah, it was not there. I don't know why. Yeah, we'll just leave you. I'll just leave you like that. Okay, now a closer look at the soap. Can you see that? See? It's just wonky. It's really wonky where that silver came through. And then there's some soaps that they just have like a tish of it and no like rhyme or reason. And yeah, that's an edge. That's an edge. So of course, you pour it and it flies through. But yeah, there was just not much there to even portray the design that I wanted, I guess that's just how it goes. And here are the fragrance notes for these little rose quartz bars. Here are the bars right after I cut them. Okay? And here are the bars after they are cured. They have a little bit more texture to them. I'm blaming the buttermilk. But anyway, I hope you had a good time. Thank you for dropping by, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.